Hey, what's going on, everybody? I know you didn't think we were finished with the chords course. We still have a lot more to do. We did the triads. We started off with playing triads. We did the 7th chord with the 7th scale degree. Now we're on to the 9th scale degree. Here we go. All right, guys, so real quick, I always forget to say this. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and click that red subscribe button so you can get notified every single Friday, every single week, and sometimes twice a week that I post lessons. Also visit DerekBennett.com where you can get more of this. I explain, I go more in depth with what I'm teaching on here as well. So you want to check that out if you're really serious about taking your bass playing to the next level. All right, let's go. All right, now let's get into it. I want to do a quick overview of what we already did. We talked about triads, which is the 1, 3, and the 5 scale degree of the major scale or the minor scale, whatever scale you're playing at the time, whatever your key you're in. We did for both. So you can play a chord just with those 3 notes. Then there's the 7th chord, the major 7 or the minor 7 chord. You're bringing in those upper extensions now. You're climbing up the ladder, I would say. You're stacking those thirds. So you got 1, 3, 5, and now 7. All right, and we talked about that in the last episode or last tutorial of the course. So as long as you understand that concept, all we're doing is building on top of it. All right, grasp the concept first, and then you want to relate it to your instrument or to your bass. All right, so you want to learn how to play this positioning wise, fingering wise on the bass, because that's the most trouble that we get into. Okay, we learn it on paper. Okay, I got 1, 3, 5, 7. Okay, I can recite odd numbers since I was in grade school. That's fine. What else do I have to do with it? How do I apply it now? So that's what we're talking about. And that's what I want to show you guys today, how to play these 9 chords. There's several different ways. And I'll also just stick to the end. I'll also show you exactly what I played in the beginning, that little chord progression thing. I really just made it up, but I'll show you guys exactly what I did. So let's expound on that C major scale. Let's just start from there so it's easy to remember or easy to figure out. So we have 1, 3, 5 of the major scale. So that's C, E, and G. We play that as a chord. We played it up here. We played it down here, or we played it up here with the third, with the major third, up an octave. We just switched that up an octave. That's all we did to be able to play that at the same time. Okay, so the 7th chord, we use 2 different variations of the 7th chord. We had the root, the 7, and the 3rd, and we did the same thing. We moved the 3rd up an octave, or we can also just keep the 3rd right there. We have we have the root note, 3rd, and then the 7th. We left the 5th note out. Okay, so with these chords, you have different options that you can play. So with the 5th note, we leave that 5th note out because sometimes it's very powerful. It's very overbearing because with the bass, the frequencies of the bass, when you play a 5th together, that interval is very harsh. It's very, that like that power chord, and definitely, especially with those lower frequencies, it's harder to hear that, and it just kind of gets a little bit muddy. So with those chords, sometimes we leave the 5th note out unless we're playing in this upper register here. So we got the 7th chord down. That was a major 7 and then a minor 7th, or see how much better it sounds up here. But anyway, now we're going to move on to the 9th scale degree. And what is the 9th scale degree? All right, easy way to think about it is whenever you get above those upper extensions like 7, 9, 11, 13, that kind of thing, even if it's sharp, flat, doesn't matter. Take away 7 from it. All right, you get what I'm saying? All right, we're going to be doing a little bit of math. All right, guys, so take away 7 from 9. And what do you have? 2, right? So 2 is the 2nd scale degree, the octave of the 9. Okay, the lower octave of the 9. So it's easy to find that. So let me show you exactly what I mean. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If we were to keep going with the scale, 9, that will be our 9th note. But it's an easy way to figure that out. If you see 9, just think, okay, subtract 7 from that, and I got 2. So 2, the 2nd scale degree of the major scale, is the D, and all you have to do is find that octave. Very quick way to find that. It took me a while to figure that out when I first started playing. Didn't really have anybody to show me that, but when I found out that little trick, it just kind of, made my reading, my sight reading go a little bit quicker, especially reading chord charts. But anyway, so the 9th note is going to be that D. All right, so in relation to that, you have the root and you have the 9, okay? So there's different ways to play these chords. We can stack them. We can play the 1, 3, the 5, and the 7, and the 9. but that's a little bit, you know, it gets a little bit clunky when you deal with that. All right, we already have 4 notes on top of each other on bass, and it's if you don't do it the right way, it can get muddy, like I said before. So what we can do, we can kind of omit these, you know, certain notes if we wanted to. So what I'll do is I'll start here. It's just a little bit easier. Well, you know what? Let me start with the easiest way to play it, and then I'll explain. So you have the root note. What I like to do is I like to spread this out. I like to play the 5th note, and then I like to play the 9th. And now that note or that chord can go for a major or a minor, because the major 5th will be the same thing, or if you had a minor scale, the 5th would still be the same thing. And then you have the 9th. So it can be major or minor. So you can kind of get away with that. But if you're trying to get intricate with the actual scale degree and the chord tones, you want to be able to add that minor third and a major third. That makes that chord, you know, identifiable. So you want to be able to add that note in there somewhere. All right, but that's just like a little cheap way of playing a minor or a major 9 chord. So that one positioning covered major or minor. So if you want to play a 9 chord, you can get away with playing it like that if it's major or minor. All right, but then there's another way you can play that. It's a little bit more difficult. So your hands need to be warmed up, need to be stretched a little bit. Maybe play some scales beforehand, play some exercises before you start playing these 9 chords, because they're not easy. I'm gonna tell you that now. Sometimes I still struggle with them only because the positioning, or if my bass is not on the right knee, or, you know, in the beginning I think I had it on this knee. I can't even remember, but still. It's a little bit difficult to actually execute, but I'll show you exactly what I mean. So now, all right, guys, so if you want to finish this lesson, you want to head over to the Bass Nation Academy. I'll put a link to it right here. It's a 3-day free trial, nothing to lose. The whole entire course will be available there from beginning to end. The first part of the course, there's actually like 5 or 6 parts now, and it's still being added on to because there's so much to learn with chords. And when you get there, make sure you send me a message through the site. Let me know you're coming from YouTube. I would love to hear from you. Make sure your notes are coming out clean, clear, and precise. And until next time, I'll see you.